All right, let's take a look at floating elements. So we mentioned earlier in our earlier class lecture that oftentimes when the content is too long to read, it's often useful to lay it out in columns, right? And that, but there is no default support for this kind of behavior of how to lay out elements in content in columns. So folks used to misuse tables to achieve this, right? Because tables allow you to lay out things in various columns. So instead of doing that, let's a much better approach is to use CSS, right? Certain features of CSS. So here we have examples of a couple of paragraphs, long paragraphs that where it's going to allow us to illustrate this this fact, right? So perhaps this might be a large content that spans the entire width of the page, and it's fairly challenging to read very long paragraphs without getting the folks tired of listen of let's see where we have the content. Where is it? Nope. We have an example here. If we go back, we can save this this content. Let's just copy that, and let me just illustrate here a file that will show us how to use floats. Float HTML. I'm just going to paste this in there. All right, so the same content as before. I'm going to remove the body. I'm going to remove the fixed styling, right? And I'm just going to illustrate float, right? And I'm going to refer to this in a new LI here just to show you. So this is float. Let's refresh and let's navigate there. So there we go. So we have lots of content, right? Two long paragraphs, and obviously not here, but this might look better, right, if this were laid out into two columns, like in an article or newspaper and whatnot. So how do we do that? So how do we achieve that? So let's take a look at float. So one way to achieve it. Where did my? There we go. One way to achieve it, right, is to use the CSS styling of floating. Right, floating what it does is that it removes the element from the normal flow of the content, right, and you can make it just a float to the right hand side or float to the left hand side, and it allows you to achieve these kinds of this behavior. So, for instance, what we could do here is that we can apply float, right, on these two paragraphs, and then give it a different width. Right? So for instance, what we're going to do is if you want the columns to sit side by side, we can have them float left, both of them, right, and change the width to 50%. So let's try and play around with that. All right, so let's here we can say use the paragraph here and say that we're going to style this. We're going to float to the left, and we're going to say that we want to be a width of 50%. Right, and let's copy that and apply it to both. Right, so if we refresh, now we have the elements style side by side, the two different columns. Okay, we could go a little further and keep doing this. Let's copy yet another of these paragraphs and we paste it down below. And now we can maybe split it up into three columns. Right, this might be 33. This might be 33. Right, and this might be 33. Right, and now we have three columns. There we go. See that? Right, or we might leave the later one. Let's leave this out. The style, just leave the paragraph as it normally would. Right, and what we could do is maybe split the screen maybe into a 1/3, 2/3 layout. Right, where we have the left-hand side 33% and the other one 66%, which is a very common layout where the left-hand side might have menus and links and whatnot, where the main content sits on the right-hand side. See that? Right. So making this combination of these of this styling allows you to lay it out any which way. Now, again, I'm showing you how to do it by hand, right? Manually. Later on, we're going to abandon this, right? I just wanted to show you how you might achieve this behavior. Instead, we're going to be using libraries such as Bootstrap that already have classes that you can just apply to various divs and elements, right? And you can achieve this behavior, right? Nevertheless, we're showing you how to do the multiplication tables, and then we'll just hand you the calculator. Right? Any questions? Right, so there's just some examples how to achieve that. Awesome.
Hi everyone, Jose here. Please remember to subscribe and like the video. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. Thank you.